The Empire has fallen, but its shadows haven't. In this video, we're recapping the Mandalorian and Grogu, bounty hunts, hut politics, betrayal, poison, and a rescue mission that pushes Din Djarin and his little green apprentice to their absolute limit. If you haven't seen the movie, fair warning, full spoilers ahead. Let's get into it. Years after the fall of the Galactic Empire, the galaxy remains fractured. Former Imperial warlords cling to power in scattered pockets, extorting local leaders and dreaming of resurgence, while the fledgling New Republic struggles to bring order to a lawless frontier. Into this chaos step Din Djarin, the bounty hunter known as Mando, and his small green apprentice, Grogu. No longer working alone, the pair have taken on contract work for the New Republic, hunting down the last vestiges of Imperial power. The film opens mid-mission. An ex-Imperial warlord is shaking down local leaders for protection money, murdering anyone who resists to make an example. When a disturbance draws Imperial stormtroopers to investigate, they find Mando already tearing through their ranks. What follows is a breathless action sequence. Mando fights through waves of troopers, sets explosives to bring down an escaping AT, and chases the warlord's ship through the air before shooting it down. Meanwhile, Grogu, left briefly on his own, calmly disables an attacking drone using the Force, a small but telling sign of how much his abilities have grown. With the warlord neutralized, Mando and Grogu are picked up by their pilot friend Zeb and returned to a New Republic base. There, Mando meets with his employer, Commander, referred to at times as Colonel Ward. She's frustrated. The target was supposed to be captured alive for interrogation, not killed. Mando, ever the mercenary, is more concerned about payment than diplomacy, insisting he could have simply worked through his kill list. Ward reminds him this isn't about revenge. The Republic needs intelligence on what remains of the Empire's plans so they can prepare. As an incentive and an advance on payment, she gives him something special, the Razor Crest-style ship Grogu delightedly explores, much to Mando's exasperation as he has to stop the little one from playing with the controls. Ward's real assignment is far bigger than one rogue warlord. Track down a mysterious, unidentified Imperial officer known only as Commander Coin. No one in the Republic knows his true identity, but the twin Hutt siblings who now control Nal Hutta, heirs to the old Hutt criminal empire, are believed to have that information. The catch: they won't simply hand it over. In exchange, they demand Mando retrieve their nephew Rata, the estranged son of the late Jabba the Hutt who has vanished into the underworld. Mando is reluctant. He doesn't work for the Hutts, but Ward points out that by delivering Coin to the Republic, he's technically doing exactly that. With Zeb and Grogu aboard the newly outfitted ship, they make the jump to Nal Hutta, where escort ships bring them to the Hutt twins' heavily droid-guarded palace. The twins are cordial but transactional. Bring back their nephew, and they'll give up Coin's identity. All they can offer as a lead is an old childhood photo. Rata is fully grown now, hiding out on the moon of Shaki. On Shaki, Mando and Grogu track down leads through a local shopkeeper, learning that Rhoda, going by Rada or Rhoda among the locals, has become a crowd favorite fighter in a brutal underground pit circuit. When Mando finally corners him after a victorious bout, Rhoda refuses to be rescued. He's proud of what he's built for himself, out from under his father's infamous shadow, and he's one win away from paying off his debt and walking free. The man who controls his fate and the entire local syndicate is a crime boss named Lord Jonu, also rendered Jon-O or Jono in places. Determined to find Jonu, Mando pushes through hostile locals and a violent bar brawl at Jonu's salt bar headquarters before finally getting an audience. Jonu is oddly cordial, showing off his prized salt collection, a valuable local commodity, and offering to sell Mando a different fighter. But Rhoda, he reveals, isn't for sale. His final fight isn't a retirement bout at all. It's a rigged deathmatch, a Djarik-style gauntlet designed to kill him once and for all. That night, Mando and Grogu sneak into the holding cells to warn Rhoda, but Rhoda doesn't believe the danger is real. He assumes Jonu is loyal to him. Before Mando can convince him otherwise, guards discover them. A smoke bomb goes off, and Mando is knocked out. He wakes to a roaring crowd. Rhoda's final fight has already begun, and this time it's against Mando himself. Rhoda, still convinced this is legitimate, fights back hard, but the two eventually team up when Jonu reveals the true trap, sealing them both inside the pit and releasing monstrous captive creatures to finish them off. Working together, Mando and Rhoda battle the creatures and cause a power failure that plunges the arena into chaos, letting the monsters loose on the crowd itself. In the pandemonium, Jonu flees. Rhoda goes to find a ride while Grogu, commandeering a baby stroller as an impromptu getaway vehicle, helps track him down. A chase ensues until Zeb corners Rhoda and the group forces him to explain. Janu has been keeping him alive, not out of loyalty, but because Rhoda's Hutt twin relatives actually want him dead, and Janu profits from controlling him. Rhoda begs to be let go rather than delivered to his murderous aunt and uncle, but Mando, bound by the job and by the Republic's need to identify Commander Coin, presses forward. Rhoda drops the real bombshell. The warlord the Republic is hunting, Commander Coin, is Lord Janu himself, full name Janu Coin. Mando doesn't fully trust the claim until they return to Janu's palace and find it crawling with active stormtroopers, confirming Rhoda's story. Mando storms in, declares Janu under arrest in the name of the New Republic, and a full firefight breaks out. Zeb battles troopers in the hallways while Mando faces down Janu's massive enforcer, Hog's Breath, in a brutal hand-to-hand struggle before finally taking him down. Cornered, Janu surrenders. With stormtroopers still in pursuit, the group flees by ship. Grogu even gets a turn at the ship's controls, hilariously fixating on the missile trigger, and Rhoda helps repel a boarding attempt before Mando pilots them through an aerial dogfight and destroys the pursuing fighters. They return to base and hand Coin/Janu over to Ward for interrogation. Ward is unhappy that Mando never delivered Rhoda to the Hutt twins as promised, warning that the twins hold grudges and that Mando has forfeited a lucrative payday. Mando shrugs it off. This one's on him. Back on Navarro, Mando and Grogu settle into a rare moment of peace, working with a pair of small Anzellan mechanics to repair their ship while Rhoda looks on, reflecting that Grogu is lucky to have someone looking out for him the way no one did for him at that age. A ship arrives to spirit Rhoda safely out of the system, and after a warm goodbye, including Grogu reluctantly handing back Rhoda's snacks, he departs. But someone has been watching? That night, a bounty hunter, revealed to be the Kyuzo tracker Embo, accompanied by his loyal war dog, infiltrates the ship. A tense standoff turns into an explosive escape attempt. Bombs, smoke, a chase through the dark. Ultimately, Embo captures Mando and hauls him back to Nal Hutta, straight into the hands of the Hutt twins, while the Anzellans and Grogu narrowly evade capture and set off in a small ship of their own to mount a rescue. Delivered before the twins, Mando is unmasked, a profound violation of Mandalorian creed that, they gleefully point out, will see him branded an outcast forever among his own people, even if he survives. To break him further, they torment him with the sight of a captive Grogu, in reality being held elsewhere, and throw him into a swamp pit as entertainment, setting monstrous hominin creatures and finally a massive dragon snake against him. Mando fights valiantly and retrieves his fallen helmet, but the snake manages to bite him, poisoning him before he can escape. Grogu, the Anzellans, and their small rescue team infiltrate the palace grounds just as chaos erupts. Grogu detonates a bomb to create an opening, and in the resulting flood, the group is swept outside the palace walls and nearly drowns before Mando, badly poisoned but still functioning, pulls them to safety. Unable to fit into the rescue ship himself, Mando insists the others escape without him and buys them time by fighting off pursuing droids alone, before finally collapsing from the venom. What follows is a tender, mostly wordless survival sequence. Grogu refuses to leave his side, using the Force to heal Mando's wound as best he can, hiding his unconscious body from patrolling droids, and building him a small shelter out of clay. Alone and resourceful, Grogu scavenges food, including stealing fish from a local fisherman, who catches him in the act but ultimately shows him kindness, evades Embo and his dog when they pass nearby, and eventually meets the same fisherman again, who, moved by Grogu's loyalty, brews a makeshift antidote for the dragon snake's poison. It may be too late to help, he warns, but it's worth trying. He delivers the medicine, and Grogu falls asleep beside his unconscious friend. By morning, Mando has recovered, healed, awake, and ready to move. Grogu leads him to the wrecked ship that had once carried Rhoda to safety. After fighting off aquatic omnine creatures inside, Mando manages to get it flying again. He gives Grogu the choice: run from the twins forever or end the threat now. Grogu chooses to fight. They crash the ship directly into the Hutt palace, triggering full-scale war. Mando and Grogu fight through waves of security droids, with Grogu at one point crawling inside a giant war droid to sabotage its wiring from within before reaching the throne room. The twins, cornered and desperate, beg for their lives, but Mando, unmoved, moves to free the imprisoned Rhoda instead. Embo and his dog burst in to intervene, and the fight spirals into a multi-front brawl. Mando against Embo, Grogu using the Force to subdue the war dog, and the freed Rhoda turning on the very aunt and uncle who tried to have him killed. A trapdoor gives way beneath the twins during the struggle, and with Embo choosing self-preservation over loyalty and fleeing, the returning dragon snake finishes them for good. With Republic reinforcements finally arriving, having tracked the Anzellan's rescue ship, Mando calls in an orbital strike on his own position, and the group makes a desperate final leap through a blasted wall into the swamp below, just as Republic fighters level the palace behind them. Zeb swoops in to pull them to safety, and they all return to base together. Back at Republic headquarters, Ward reveals the deeper truth. Commander Coin had confessed that the Hutt twins were never reliable allies. They'd been secretly feeding Republic intelligence to Imperial remnants all along. The rescue mission wasn't just personal. The Republic doesn't abandon its own, and by this point, that clearly includes Mando. He brushes off the sentiment, insisting he's just a contractor, but Ward isn't fooled. Rhoda decides to stay behind and start a new life working for the New Republic, while the Anzellans head off for a well-earned drink. Mando and Grogu, their bond stronger than ever after everything they've endured together, set off once more. This time with Mando beginning to teach his small companion how to actually fly a ship, a quiet symbol of the found family they've built and the adventures still ahead of them. And that's the story of the Mandalorian and Grogu, a wild ride from warlord hunting to Hutt betrayal to one very determined little Force user saving the day. If you enjoyed this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more movie breakdowns. Drop a comment letting us know what you thought of the film, and we'll catch you in the next one.